you ready? It is time for another episode of Broad Street and Beyond, where everything Philly sports at Central PA is in play. We leave those New York sports in the penalty box. And now, here's Chase and JC.
Well, my friends, it just finished raining out here in South Central Pennsylvania. I could hear it on the roof, but the sun is shining now, and it's time for another episode of Broad Street and Beyond. Well, through this window it is. The window up here to my right.
Yeah, I got a little sun. I got a little sun.
Where's your window? Let me see your window.
over there. It's over that way.
Okay. Welcome to another episode of Broad Street and Beyond. JT along with Chase. It is good to be back with you talking sports, Philly, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and beyond. Anything that's creating a little buzz in our little neck of the woods, we like to talk about it here. We're going to be hanging out with you here for the next, hour or so. How long are we going to go?
We're going to go today. An hour. I got time. I got set my timer here. Hold on. Hour. No, I don't.
As soon as
I don't ever put a time on it, brother.
As soon as it dings, that means we're out of here. Okay.
Whatever you tell me.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Whatever you tell me. That's where we're at.
We are coming to you. We are recording this from our Fairview Golf Course studios. Great golf in Central PA for over 60 years. And, of course, the last couple of days has been golf weather, as you can attest to, my friend.
Yeah, crazy busy, man. They've been coming out in full force. Good to see. If need to book a tee time, just hop on over there, fairview.distinctgolf.com. to book that tee time.
This is a fun time of year to start to delve into sports. I mean, obviously we're in the off season of the NFL, but right. NFL is a year round sport anymore, because as soon as free agency is like its own season, it's like its own NFL season. It's like NFL's right back into the forefront. We've got the World Baseball Classic to talk about. We're going to touch on some hockey as well. We'll do the Penguins, the Flyers, the Caps, the Hershey Bears, of course, and we'll talk about the Sixers. But let's kick it off here.
That's a lot of sports.
As Chase always grills me with these 3 questions he has for me. So it's pop quiz time. Let's do it.
Got to warm you up. All right, buddy. Here's the first one. Your favorite breakfast meal. You got one?
Like what do I love having for breakfast?
Your go-to.
Go-to. That is easy. Eggs, bacon, and home fries.
Wow. You're not hard to please, I'll tell you that.
Oh,
it's pretty simple.
What I used to love back in the day? You go out to the bars late at night and you'd wander into the Hearth.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
oh, God, yeah.
2-3 in the morning, you got the Hearth breakfast special, and it was like eggs, bacon, eggs, your choice of like breakfast meat, like toast, home fries, and then you could get like a short stack of pancakes to go with it. Oh, yeah. That was heaven. Yeah.
I remember many late nights, just hopping on over there when the bar closed at 2:00 and being at the Hearth until like 4 a.m. It was the greatest thing. I think they're still open 24 hours too, aren't they?
Oh, they absolutely are. But remember, back in our day, our youth, once it got past a certain time of the evening, I think after midnight, the entire restaurant was allowed. You could smoke. So you could walk in at like 2 a.m. and you kind of like wave your hand through the smoke. You'd be like, I think I see a table over there in the corner. Let's quick grab it.
That's funny. Hey man, nothing good happens after 10 p.m. We all know that.
Oh no, there's always fights in there too. That was great.
Oh, yeah.
But a good breakfast too. A good breakfast.
Oh yeah. Banging breakfast.
Absolutely.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, buddy. Second question. How about your favorite road trip? Either that you've taken or that you want to take?
I would love to. So I was in this town. I was in this city, but I was there specifically for a reason. So the schedule was structured. But last February, I was in Boston, Massachusetts for a couple of days. And I just really didn't have time to do any kind of sightseeing. So I would love to take a trip back to Boston where I've got no commitments, no schedule to keep, and just spend a couple of days sightseeing.
So you didn't go to the Cheers bar? You didn't go to Sam Adams? None of those places?
I didn't get a chance. So that would be the trip I would like to take. The best trip that I've ever taken was a 10-day excursion to Italy.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that'd be a good one. Yeah, that'd be a fun one. Did you ever collect the Garbage Pail Kid trading cards when you were a kid? Remember those?
Absolutely, I did. Oh, I love those things. We
Who was your
used to,
favorite?
oh, I don't remember what they were. I'm trying
The
to
trash
remember.
can guy. I like the trash can guy.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember. I can't recall. Like now you're gonna make me go look them up. But I remember going to there used to be a corner store called oh, I can't remember what it was called now. It
Beamies.
was on Beamies
Remember
on East
Beamies?
Rodman Street.
Yeah, I live right down
Yes.
the street, buddy. Yeah.
Yes, that's the one. And I used to we used to stop there from time to time, like after my dad would, pick me up from wherever, and I'd always ask, "Hey, do you mind? Can I buy a pack or two of Garbage Pail Kids?"
Right.
You'd hurry up to see what you had, and oftentimes you'd have doubles, and then like the next day, like in sixth grade, the next morning, you're there, sifting through, trading with your friends right before school started. Oh, those bring back the memories.
How about
Garbage Pail
the
Kids.
Adam Bomb? Remember that one?
Oh
One with
yeah.
the guy is his head's exploding. The picture's right here. It's
Are
good
you
stuff.
looking at them right now?
Adam
Oh, that's
Bomb. Let me see who some of these other ones are. Uzi Susie.
oh my
Jason
goodness.
Basin. How about Michelle Muck? I remember that one. It's like covered in like mud and stuff. Oh, there's so many. Oh my God. You want to talk about some seriously good memories? The Garbage Pail Kids and all that good stuff back in the 80s. Oh gosh, it was such a good time. Such a good time
Now
to
that
be alive, JT.
now that you mention this, I just did a Google search for Garbage Pail Kids. Are you ready for this?
I am.
On eBay right now,
Oh, Jesus.
apparently you can purchase the entire Garbage Pail Kids 1985 first series in mint condition. Bidding is at $22,500.
$22,000.
Yeah, does that mean
Wow.
I guess that means because they're
Wow.
I gotta click on this. This is
Wow. Are you
crazy.
gonna bid? You need some money. You want to bid
Yeah,
on
I'm
it?
gonna bid. I'm gonna bid. I'm not gonna get close to that though. It says pre-owned. So why, if it's pre-owned, would it be? Are they worth that much?
They must be. I mean, see, the things that we didn't know when we were a kid. We used to put them in our bikes in the spokes when we were officially done with them. Just think of
Oh
all
yeah,
those cards that we had back in the day. What they'd be worth. $22,000. Are you kidding me? I'm gonna have to look that up later.
that's what it
That's
says.
insane. Absolutely insane. Good time to be alive, though. I'll tell you what.
Good times,
Yeah,
good memories,
absolutely.
man.
Outstanding. No problem, man. That's what I'm
Handy
here for.
Randy,
Oh yeah, Andy Randy. That's a good one, too.
Messy Tessie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah, there's Adam Bomb, Russell Spout. Son Bernie. Oh my gosh. We should forget about Broad Street. Let's do a whole podcast on our memories of Garbage Pail Kids.
Let's do it.
that
We
would
should
be
just do
good.
a whole podcast on like when we were a kid and the things we collected, the toys that we had. We could probably spend 6 hours, literally.
Now
talking about
it makes me wish that I still had some of that stuff. We could bring it. We could do a little show and tell on the pod.
At 22 grand, I wish I had it too. Right about
my
now, I
gosh.
think I could use 22 grand to sell that set. Absolutely.
All right. Well, I don't want to get. I actually I love talking about this kind of stuff, but I don't want to get too sidetracked. Let's kick it off here
Just took
with a
JT
little.
back, man. We take
You
JT
did.
way back.
You took me down the Garbage Pail Kid rabbit hole.
Oh yeah, indeed.
Now I got to climb back out. But NFL
Yeah.
free agency,
Oh, yeah.
I guess, is officially today. It
Okay.
actually starts today, but all of the news breaks on Monday and Tuesday because Monday is when the tampering period, begins. And of course, the tampering period begins, and then within minutes, all these deals are kind of worked out.
Never entered
one-
tampering. Never.
Yeah, but okay, so one deal that looked to be worked out that was creating the biggest buzz in the world of the NFL involved the Baltimore Ravens when they made a big trade with the Las Vegas Raiders, trading a couple of first-round picks to the Baltimore did to the Raiders to get star defensive end Max Crosby, and then word breaks late last night that the Ravens announced they are backing out of the Max Crosby trade because for medical reasons, saying that he failed his physical. Now, our young Noah, who works here in the building, is a very, very passionate Ravens fan. he smells something fishy going on. What were your thoughts when you first heard that the Ravens did an about face and had backed out of the Max Crosby trade?
I thought it was funny, even prior to that, though. I mean, Lane Johnson from the Eagles actually tweeted, I don't know if it was Thursday, Friday before it happened, and he put Crosby in an Eagles jersey and got everybody hyped that Crosby was coming to the Eagles. And then it came out that he was with Baltimore and signing with Baltimore. But these kind of things, I guess, happen once you have that pending physical still yet, right? Until he takes that physical, I guess he's had some health issues, and maybe Baltimore wasn't altogether there on how his injuries were, and maybe the Raiders weren't all that straightforward with what he may have injured or what is going on with Crosby. But I mean, that's obviously a big loss for Baltimore. But they did pick up another guy today, if you saw as well, a
Yeah, so
defensive end.
so they quickly pivoted to Plan B again.
Yeah,
I thought it was interesting that they back out of that trade and are quickly able to pivot to bring in Trey Hendrickson from the Bengals, 4-year deal for $112 million. Yeah, so Max Crosby has the meniscus issue,
right.
um, and I don't think it was a secret that probably wasn't going to be ready till like July. I don't know, maybe push that into August, depending on how conservative or aggressive you are in his timeline or his recovery. Um, I don't know. Something doesn't sit right with me with this thing. I'm starting to wonder if the Ravens got a little bit of got some cold feet on this trade
That
when
they
they
just don't
kind
want to
of.
pull the trigger on it. You think that
Well, I
they
think they.
bad decision?
I think when they sat and looked at it and saw that they were giving up 2 first-round picks,
Right.
and then they started to see that, okay, well, he's not 100%, and maybe it's just a little too much to give up for a guy that maybe could get hurt again. And uh, I tend to think that they had to know what they were getting going in. I can't believe that they would be that surprised by what they saw on the physical. I don't know. It's just I guess I'm a little too cynical with stuff like that. But the other thing is that the Ravens have a history. They've done this before. Um, and don't forget, last year, I think it was last year, the Eagles had made a trade with the Ravens for Jair Alexander,
Oh yeah.
the corner, and
Yep.
they thought they were getting an upgrade, and the information that they got from the Ravens was that he was, he was fine, he was good to go. And then remember, in like days or like a week later, he announces that he's retiring.
Right.
Uh, I thought that was a little strange when that happened, and then when you add this in, um, I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know, but anyway, but because if you look at it now, they get their upgrade at defensive end, and now they get to keep their draft picks.
right, and it's not to say that Crosby is nowhere near at the tail end of his career as of yet. I mean, he had a pretty decent season last year. I mean, albeit with the Las Vegas Raiders, who aren't the best of teams that are out there, but he is their shining star, of course, on defense there. And he did have 10 sacks last year, had a better year probably last year than he did back in 2024. Was he hurt in 2024?
Who's that again?
Crosby, was he hurt 2024?
I
Was that the
I
year?
don't remember. I don't remember.
That might have been the year that he was hurt, but I mean, he did have a decent season last season. He's 28 years old right now, currently. I mean, he's a big dude, a force on the defensive side of things. It would have definitely been an upgrade, but I think now, they opted for Plan B now with Hendrickson, and I think they'll be all right. But I'm sure something will come out here in the later days of exactly what did happen with not signing Crosby here down the road. He's going to go somewhere else. I mean, he very well could go to the Eagles now that he's on the market.
Well, well, I guess he could.
Not sure if
Um,
the Eagles are gonna, depending on what happens here with the A.J. Brown deal, I mean, if they trade AJ Brown somewhere else. They're going to have money to spend, and they certainly are going to need somebody that's going to be a pass rusher with the Eagles here upcoming with, losing what they did lose, which we're going to get into that here shortly. But Crosby could be an option, for the Birds.
Well, I guess my take is just going to be that I think they knew he wasn't 100%. They knew about the meniscus issue when they made the trade.
Sure.
I just feel like maybe once they got him in there and he had the physical, maybe they just got a little
cold feet.
They got a little squeamish, I think. They got a little squeamish when they started to think about what the assets that they gave up to get him. And then all of a sudden it was like, maybe we're having like you said, maybe a little cold feet, a little buyer's remorse. Look, it's well within their right. You have, the deal, even though the news comes out that they've agreed to the trade, it's not official until free agency begins. You can't make those deals official until the official start of free agency. So they were well within their rights to, that they did back out of it in time. It's just, and then they were able to pivot that quickly, to get Trey Hendrickson. So
when you're giving up the, first round draft picks, I mean, it's like every sport. I mean, an NFL may be a little bit different when you're comparing like first round draft picks in like baseball versus football. I mean, a lot of the football ones, sometimes they pan out, sometimes they don't. But I mean, when you're giving up 2 first round draft picks for a guy that you're not sure if he's going to stay healthy all year long, I mean, it's you can't you can't say that they were wrong in doing that and giving up what they were going to give up. So we'll see. Plan B is there for Baltimore, and I'm sure Crosby is going to be happy elsewhere, and somebody else is going to certainly give him probably the same kind of deal and same kind of money that Baltimore or even more to sign him.
Well, I mean, I guess it still has to be a trade, right? So now that this news is out about his physical, now you got to wonder if that drives the price down for Max Crosby. I don't think the Raiders are going to find another team that's going to be willing to give up 2 first round picks. I know the Eagles wouldn't do that. I can't imagine. I think the price is going to go way down. They may end up dealing him again, but for now he's back to being a Raider. As far as the Eagles go, I think, we talked in previous pods about who we thought was going to leave, who was going to stay. The first thing that got rolling, of course, was the contract extension to Jordan Davis.
Right.
And what that meant for, some of the other guys that could be coming back or didn't come back. So we were kind of hoping they would bring Jalen Phillips back. Well, that didn't happen. He gets the 4-year, $120 million deal, $30 million a year from Carolina. You wanted him back, but I don't think the Eagles were going to be willing to spend that kind of money on Jalen Phillips. Nakobe Dean is gone. He gets a deal to go to, was it the Bears, I think?
Not Dallas. He didn't go to Dallas. He turned that deal down. Did you hear about that? How he turned the deal down?
He did. Yeah.
Nakobe Dean, he went to the Raiders.
Oh, the Raiders. The Raiders. I'm sorry. As soon as I
$36 million deal.
That's right. He was part of the spending spree that they got, because they traded away Max Crosby. So I don't know what that does with their cap situation. If that puts them in a box, paints them into a corner as far as the cap situation. I'm talking about the Raiders, but yeah, that's right. Nakobe Dean goes to the Raiders. Reed Blankenship, he's gone as well. He gets a 3-year deal, $24 million with the Texans. I was a little surprised. I don't know what your thoughts were. I think we talked about, I kind of thought Reed Blankenship would not be back, but then when I saw that he signed for $8 million a year, I didn't think that price tag was too high. I thought maybe that would be a range that the Eagles would go for. But I guess they weren't willing to pony up that kind of money. But maybe they have some other things in mind. But yeah, they did not bring back Reed Blankenship. He's gone. And then last night they make a move and they sign Tariq Woolen, corner from the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. 1-year deal, kind of a 1-year show me deal for $15 million. I think that makes their corner situation stronger than it was last year.
Sure.
Reek, however, I guess had lost some snaps to Josh Jobe, former Eagle, by the way,
Yep.
who really came into his own this year with the Seahawks and that defense. But anyway, your thoughts on losing Reed Blankenship in that secondary and adding Reek Woolen, which gives them a trio of Woolen, Quinyon Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean as your
Yeah.
3 main corners. They also restructured a deal for Michael Carter II. So your thoughts now, as of right now, as we speak, what the Eagles secondary looks like?
I think their secondary stacked now. I think it's better than last year. I mean, Reed Blankenship is good. He's a good in the secondary there, but I don't think he's anywhere near what you're picking up with Woolen. And then when you put the combination of him with Quinyon Mitchell and also with Cooper DeJean, man, I think they got the top secondary right now, I would say, in the NFL. I mean, Reed Blankenship, I'm just as shocked as you are. I mean, that's what even the Philly media was shocked that the Eagles didn't even kind of blink an eye and say, okay, well, maybe we can re-sign and bring back Blankenship at that price that he got. But I'm a little more surprised with the losing Jalen Phillips. I mean, I didn't see that coming with the season that he's had last year. I did not see Jalen Phillips jumping ship. I mean, obviously he got a payday for sure, but I did not see the Jalen Phillips coming. You're sad to see Nakobe Dean leave, obviously, too, man. He's just an absolute stud there for the Philadelphia Eagles and always was with the years that he was there, albeit not that many, but he was there for, the years that he was there. He was a stud and a half. They also lost Jahan Dotson too, a wide receiver as well. They lost him, which I wish they would have thrown to him a little bit more during the season. We talked about that as well, but I was a little more shocked with the Jalen Phillips leaving and signing elsewhere.
Well, I think, the Eagles have reached a point where, when you get a defense as good as they've been the last couple years now,
Right.
you're not going to be able to pay everybody. And,
Yeah.
their philosophy is they're going to identify the core guys that they think that they can build with and build around. Jordan Davis, I'm sure fresh on their mind is trying to figure out if they're going to give Jalen Carter an extension.
Sure.
They locked up Zach Bond. They've got the secondary mostly set, although I still think they need another safety. They've got Makumba coming back. He was having a good rookie year and then got hurt. I think they need a second safety. So we'll see what they do if they address that in the draft or they do something in free agency. But I think they were somewhat comfortable with losing to Kobe Dean with the fact that Jihad Campbell started for about half the season while Nakobe Dean recovered from his injuries.
Right.
So, again, the formula that they're going with is trying to lock up their core guys, replenish through the draft, but that means you got to hit on your draft picks, which they have. They did not so much, not in my opinion, not quite as much last year. But the previous 3 drafts, I thought they hit a lot of home runs. So that this upcoming draft is going to be a key. And also, you gotta look. Okay, so there's the draft. You got to think about, what the salary cap is going to look like down the road and the extensions. And again, just and hitting on your draft picks. And I think they're comfortable losing some of these guys and going with the comp pick game where they get some of these comp picks for losing some of these free agents. I think they'll end up getting a 3rd round comp pick for losing Jalen Phillips to free agency. So, now you look at most times you think you can still get a pretty darn good player in the 3rd round of the draft.
Right. It still hinges too. I mean, what are they going to do with AJ Brown? I mean, there's been talk here for the past couple of days now that they're trying to unload AJ Brown somewhere. Patriots was was the top choice, obviously, was because he was there before and there was talk about it, but now they just signed another wide receiver. New England did. So is that does that mean that A.J. Brown's now going to stay with the Philadelphia Eagles? They're not going to shop him around. I doubt it. I'm sure they're still probably shopping A.J. Brown around and trying to make up some of the money that he's making and pass it on elsewhere so they can pick up some other guys, maybe in the draft or here down the road in a trade or something. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do with A.J. Brown here down the road too.
I think in my opinion, if anything does happen now with A.J. Brown, I think it might be a little closer to the draft. That's just my opinion.
Could be. Yeah. Could be. Yeah.
I'm still inclined to think though that there's a pretty decent chance that he's still back with them next year. I think there was definitely some smoke to the rumors of the Patriots, but it sounds to me like, Howie Roseman has a pretty big asking price, and I think the fact that the Patriots pivoted and signed Romeo Doubs, I think indicates it to me anyway that they're now less inclined to go after A.J. Brown, that they feel like Romeo Doubs is a cheaper option.
Not a number one wide receiver though.
No, he's not. Yeah. But but again, it's all relative. Is Romeo Doubs an upgrade to what they had last year? Right. They didn't have a lot of great weapons, but they made the most of what they had just because of how good Drake May was. Right. But I'd be interested to see if the Eagles do something with A.J. Brown around the draft. Remember, that's when they acquired him. That was a draft day trade when they traded a couple of draft picks to Tennessee to bring him in. So that'll be something to keep an eye on as we get closer to the draft, which is basically like a month and a half away. It's coming up.
Got to have a big old draft pick show, man. We got to have like 12, 15 guys on this show and just banter all day long about the draft. What do you think? One big party.
I just do one, make it one pod and make it a 7-round mock draft where we just sit here and every single pick. Oof. That is good content, my friend.
That
would keep people's attentions, don't you think?
That certainly would. We might have to put that together. We'll have to talk about that. Might have to do that.
The draft is in Pittsburgh, and speaking of the Steelers, one of the things that we had talked about throughout the season and that we chatted a little bit about at the end of heading into this offseason was the fact that they needed a number 2 wide receiver. Right. To complement DK Metcalf. They went out and they made the trade with Indianapolis and brought in Michael Pittman, who I think, tough to say where Michael Pittman is at. I still think he can be pretty good. But I think he's definitely an upgrade as to what they had last year. So I got to think that, I got to think that if you're a Steelers fan, you're pretty happy with this move. They bring him in for $29 million. It's a 3-year deal for $59 million total, but it's a $24 million cap hit last year. 80 catches last year, 784 yards, 7 touchdowns. He's been a 1,000-yard receiver. He still has some pretty good speed. He's a big target for whoever their quarterback is going to be.
Yeah, it could be you or me, Ben, at this point in time.
But if it ends up being Aaron Rodgers, if it ends up being something else, they're coming into, a pretty good situation having, Pittman and DK Metcalf as their top 2 wideouts, provided they stay healthy. But, I think it's a pretty good 1-2 punch, don't you think?
Yeah, he's still a young guy. I mean, he's been with the Colts since 2020 after coming off his seasons there with USC. I mean, decline year. I mean, if you're really looking at the stats that close and saying, where he's at. I mean, he had the over 1,000 yards back in 2023 with the 109 receptions, the 4 touchdowns. Obviously, last year he had the most touchdowns in his whole entire NFL career with the 784 yards, the 80 catches that you had mentioned too. But, I mean, he's still a young guy. I think it's a definite upgrade from what the Pittsburgh Steelers had. They're going to have to replace, their top wide receiver Kenny Gainwell that they lost. But I mean, that's so funny to say. I mean, he's a running back, and he was almost like their top wide receiver last year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But it's definitely an upgrade, and Michael Pittman still has a lot of great years in him, so it's going to be interesting to see whoever's, like you said, throwing him the football there in Pittsburgh. Nobody has any idea of who's going to be throwing him the football, but it's definitely an upgrade for sure.
Well, and that ended up being a pretty unsettled quarterback situation in Indy last year. Remember, Daniel Jones got off to that unbelievable start. Then he kind of started to level off, and then he got hurt, and then they ended up. Philip Rivers was their quarterback there for a while at the end of the season. So
Daniel Jones getting paid, man. Now Daniel Jones is getting paid. You see that?
He is
that
getting
deal
paid.
He made.
He's making a nice bag.
$88 million. Good grief for Daniel Jones.
You mentioned Kenny Gainwell. I look at the price tag. So they didn't bring him back. They ended up signing Rico Dowdle, and I think the difference. I'm trying to remember this off the top of my head. I think the difference in the two contracts was like $1.75 million. To me, that's not that far apart. Like they saved almost $2 million with the Dowdle signing, and Rico Dowdle had a great year. He did really well last year for the Panthers, but I don't know. I guess I'm just surprised that to me it wasn't like miles apart. That why wouldn't you just bring Gainwell back?
Yeah, and it's almost like a flop of running backs, right? I mean, like Kenny Gainwell's. I always was a big Kenny Gainwell fan when he was with the Eagles, and what he did last year with Pittsburgh. I mean, I if it's that small of a difference in money, I'm not sure why you wouldn't bring Kenny Gainwell back for what he did with Pittsburgh last season. So that's the first time I heard that it's only that little of a difference of pay and the amount of money that they're giving the new guy. But yeah, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't bring back Kenny Gainwell. I mean, after what he did last year with Pittsburgh, it would have been a no-brainer.
Well, unless they have a plan mapped out down to the last dollar, that this is how much they can. This is how much that they have slotted to offer Kenny Gainwell, and if he can get something more than that, then he's going to take it. But again, when I heard that they weren't bringing Kenny Gainwell back, I thought, well, he had a really good year. He's going to get more money elsewhere. And then that they went with Rico Dowdle. But then when I saw the amount, the money for the two contracts, in my opinion, I just don't think that's that much. But maybe they feel like that savings can be better used elsewhere.
Yeah, so it looks like the Steelers signed Rico to a 2-year, $12.25 million deal. Kenny Gainwell got a 2-year deal with the Buccaneers at a $14 million deal. That's $10 million guaranteed. So you're looking at, like you said, I mean, it's, what about $2 million difference there?
Now, unless the biggest difference is the guaranteed money, maybe that
could be. I don't know what they are giving Rico here. Let's open this up here. But his deal was 2 years, $12.25 million. Rico's. But I mean, it's good to see Kenny Gainwell getting paid too. I mean, getting that $10 million guaranteed and a $14 million deal. Good for him, man. Take the money.
He was great with the Steelers last year. He did a really nice job in his time with the Eagles. That turned out to be a pretty good draft pick. I mean, he served his purpose. He really played his role well.
He's always that guy out of the slot that you could just dump it to. And I mean, for as small as he was, I mean, he could even get through the offensive line when he was with Philadelphia all the time and get through those holes. And I just loved what he brought to the Philadelphia Eagles. Was really sad to see him go. And now that he was out in Pittsburgh, I was able to watch him a little bit more. But now that he's down in Tampa Bay, I have no interest in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That's it. That's it. I don't want to hear any more about Kenny Gainwell.
It's over, Kenny.
He's out of here. Get him. And no more Kenny. Tired of him.
Our relationship is over
anymore.
No, I'm still a big Kenny Gainwell fan. He is the man. I really enjoyed him when he was with Philadelphia for sure. But good for him. Good for him.
Now, I did see the Steelers also signed Jamel Dean, the corner who was with the Bucks last year, who's been pretty consistent, the last couple of years. I think that's a nice addition for them. They bring
Right.
him in. I think the total contract is worth $36 million-ish, somewhere around there. I think that's an upgrade for them. I think they were looking for some help at corner. They had brought in Darius Slay last year. That didn't work out so
Mm.
great. In fact, they ended up letting him go.
Where
Remember,
is Darius Slay at right now?
well,
Where's he playing?
wasn't he traded or signed? He was put on wasn't he picked up by Buffalo and then he
I don't know.
refused to report or something
Oh,
like
yeah.
that?
He was taking time to think about it. So maybe
Right.
he never came back.
Is he still thinking about it?
Apparently so. Let me look. Apparently he is. Let's look here. Darius Slay. Slay. Let's see. Darius Slay
Big play Slay?
is 35 years old. He is, well, they still have him listed on Wikipedia, which is not always right. They still have him listed playing for the Buffalo Bills, but
Well,
I don't.
I guess
I guess maybe.
technically,
I guess he's
if they
still signed
claim,
with them. Yeah.
well, I guess if you get claimed, you are part of that team. It's whether or not he reports that becomes the issue. And it sounded like he wasn't going to report or didn't want to report. Anyway, we'll see.
He's still contemplating,
He's
according to the
still
one report. Still
okay.
contemplating on a beach somewhere. If he wants to come back,
Right? Exactly. Yeah.
who knows?
But certainly a lot to keep our eye
Yeah.
on here as we move through the off season and get closer to the draft. Let's switch gears a little bit. The World Baseball Classic has been going on since last week. It really kind of kicked into high gear this past weekend. Your thoughts? First off, are you watching it? And if you are, what are your thoughts? Do you enjoy watching this kind of baseball this early here in early March?
Sort of, kind of. I mean, it's sort of, kind of. I mean, that's the best way that I can answer it. I mean, I've been watching some of the. I mean, I can't get into it like I would get into like the Olympics. You know what I mean? Like I can't get into it. When the U.S. hockey was playing, man, I was full-fledged into that, watching like every game and watching every minute of the game. Where World Baseball Classic, I think, is just a little bit different. I mean, you got teammates going against teammates right before the regular season of the major league season, and I like it to a certain extent. It just doesn't give me the hype and everything else that like the U.S. and hockey and Olympics, and when you're playing for your country, and it just sort of gives me a different feel. I don't know about you, but it just gives me a different feel. I've been watching it, obviously, with the U.S., with having Schwarber and Harper, watching what they're doing. Pretty impressive performance by Michael Lorenzen last night for Italy against the U.S. That was pretty impressive, but I just don't have the same feels of watching that as I do with like other patriotic, teams and everything else. I don't know what it is, but I just don't get those
Well,
feels.
I think winning an Olympic gold medal means more than winning the World Baseball Classic. I think
Yeah.
Inherently there's you get even though it's Team USA, I think when it's the Olympics, you just naturally, I think it's ingrained in all of us. There's a little more sense
pride.
of patriotism, a little more pride.
Yeah.
And then also, with the hockey, you had the built-in storyline of the U.S. going, knowing that in order to win the gold medal, that they were probably going to have to topple Canada, a team
Right.
that they have been playing catch up with for years and years. They've gotten close to beating Canada, and they finally did it for the gold medal. And it's the first time, and also the U.S. had not won the Olympic gold medal in men's ice hockey since Miracle on Ice. So you had all that history, you
Right.
had that rivalry, you had that underdog story kind of built in, and plus it's the Olympics. With the World Baseball Classic, I think a lot of people just don't feel like it means as much. And apparently it doesn't mean as much to Mark DeRosa, to the manager for Team USA, because he totally screwed it up last night, thinking that the U.S. had already clinched a spot in the quarterfinals and decided to get some guys in there that hadn't played much, and they poo-pooed that game last night against Italy. Yes, Michael Lorenzen, the former Philly who once threw a no-hitter and then was never the same after that for the Phillies, and they lose 8-6 to Italy, and their chances of advancing into the knockout stage is very much in doubt now.
Yeah,
Mark
depends on the day,
DeRosa,
right?
yeah, Mark DeRosa is he's not even a manager, right? He's just like an analyst for
He's an
MLB.
analyst on MLB Network.
MLB,
Yeah, I mean, a former player, obviously, but this is
well,
the
yeah,
second
but
time that he's coached, I guess.
well, I know the tiebreaker thing's a little convoluted with the World Baseball Classic in terms of runs, like run differential. But come on, if you're the manager, you got to know that stuff. Like what?
You should. Yeah.
What an idiot, as far as I'm concerned. Like
He should be fired today.
he should be fired.
He should.
Bring Topper down.
That's right. Bring somebody.
Come on.
I
think I'd rather. I mean, why not have Joe Girardi be the skipper of Team USA?
Yeah, I don't know how you get an analyst.
That is ridiculous.
How do you get an analyst to? I mean, I get it. I mean, he's a former player. He coached the U.S. before, and I think they got. I don't know how far they got the last time he managed them, but I don't know how you can hire an analyst to be coaching these top name guys here on the U.S. team. They got quite the lineup from top to bottom, and mixing everybody together. And I mean, obviously, I mean, who do you pick to be your starting nine when you're actually out there and you have that squad that you have? But you certainly should know exactly where you stand when it comes down to everything as far as the standings and that sort of thing. But clearly he doesn't. So,
well, I mean,
the text message, JT.
Yeah, the first three games we get Logan Webb, we get Tarek Skubal, and we get Paul Skeens, and then you throw out Nolan McLean because you don't know, you think you have it wrapped up.
Right.
I mean, what a bonehead.
But, so have you been watching? You've been watching, Ben?
I've watched when the U.S. has played. I don't watch the other games. I guess if you really, so they have games on FS1, FS2. They have them on Tubi that you can watch them for free. And there's even ones that are exclusively on the Fox Sports app. So if you're really, really into everything that is the World Baseball Classic, you can conceivably watch every game. Yeah. I'm not there. I'll watch. Give me the game that's on at 8:00 on Fox in prime time, which is going to be, if the U.S. is playing, it's going to be the U.S.
Yeah. So, and tonight, I mean, I'll be intrigued tonight because Aaron Nola is going to take the mound for Italy. They're undefeated, taking on Mexico. That should be a pretty decent game later on tonight. But, I mean, I just can't I cannot get into it. I really can't. And right before the baseball season, you don't know how these guys are going to do. I mean, you got Bryce Harper, who's now struggling at the plate, batting like 200 in this World Baseball Classic. Schwarber's.
Yeah, I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried. He doesn't look like he's catching up to many fastballs. Maybe it's early in spring, and maybe he'll. But I was a little. That was a little concerning last year as the season wore on, and I don't know. It's a little bit concerning here early in spring training, but there's a lot of spring training to go, and we'll see what happens when the season starts.
I thought he'd be lights out. I really did in the World Baseball Classic, but even his attitude last night when he flew out and he had runners in scoring position. I mean, the look that when he took off his helmet, the look of disgust, and I don't know if his head's right quite yet, with having the early action of the World Baseball Classic, right before the baseball season, but it's not a good sign for
Chase, that's passion that you're seeing on his face.
It's disgust. It's disgust,
Is it?
JT.
Okay, I thought maybe it was just passion. Yeah. Maybe it's all that raw milk that he drinks.
Could be. Raw milk is bad. I wouldn't be drinking raw milk.
Raw milk, it makes you get frustrated. I think.
No thanks.
I don't know. I'm just guessing. I think Schwarber's look pretty decent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been fun to watch. Like Aaron Judge just hit a couple of big homers.
Yep.
There's been some guys that it was fun watching Skubal pitch, and Skeens looked great for the 4 innings he pitched. But yeah, so now we're relying Team USA, its hopes of advancing rest on the shoulders of Aaron Nola pitching a gem for Team Italy tonight against Mexico. And again, to me, it should be, well, if Mexico and the U.S. finish tied with the same record, U.S. beat Mexico. Shouldn't that be the tiebreaker?
They should be advancing, yeah. But it goes by runs, right?
It goes by runs, yeah.
Dumb.
So
yeah, that's why I can't get into it. The rules are dumb.
Yeah, once I found that out, I was like, okay. Well, maybe no wonder people aren't into this as much as the Olympics, right?
You're turning me off now to this World Baseball Classic thing. I might not even watch tonight now.
I did a horrible sales pitch for that.
You did.
That's why I could never be in sales. It wouldn't work out.
I see that.
So the NHL trade deadline has came and went last Friday. We'll start with the Flyers. They were rumored to be shopping Rasmus Ristolainen, the defenseman. Instead, they ended up trading Bobby Brink to the Minnesota Wild. They get back defenseman David Jiricek, who was a top 10 draft pick just a couple of years ago for the Minnesota Wild. He has not developed that well. He's kind of been floundering a little bit, but the Flyers had a surplus of wingers. We've talked about that before.
Yep.
And they've had some young wingers coming up. Alex Bump from Lehigh Valley, who just came up and actually scored a goal in his first game for the Flyers. So they had to make room for him. They get rid of Bobby Brink, and they feel like maybe that they can unlock something in Jiricek on defense that Minnesota was not able to. Similar to, I think they're hoping that, they made that trade in the offseason for Trevor Zegras, and, he's come into his own this year for the Flyers more than he did while he was with Anaheim. So maybe they're hoping that something similar can happen with Jiricek. I think they got rid of Nick Delorier for a conditional late round pick to Carolina. That wasn't really a big deal as far as offense lost. I think he was a good guy in the locker room, and obviously he could be the enforcer. He could drop the gloves. I don't know, your thoughts on anything jump out at you there? And then, of course, the Flyers come off the trade deadline, beat the Penguins in a shootout, and then just lay a complete egg against the Rangers at home on Monday night.
Can't do that.
Yeah, I think the smoke and mirrors are up now for the Flyers.
Yeah, I think so.
They were hanging by like that much of a thread, and now I think it's pretty much over.
Yeah, I mean, Bobby Brink was playing pretty well after the Olympic break here. I mean, I think you probably agree on that. But they had guys to spare. They're going to have to do something here. You can't lose to the New York Rangers 6-2 like they did the other night for sure. But the Flyers are going to need some help here if they're going to make that playoff push. We've said it before. They're going to have to start making some trades, and they're going to have to make maybe some big time trades here to have any playoff hope alive here. But losing that game 6-2, they were down 3-0, I believe, weren't they? They were down 3-0 in the first period. Got a Michkov power play goal there. Michkov played pretty well in that, but by the time Michkov got that goal, it was 6-1 then by the second or third period. By New York. So, I mean, they're going to need some help here to make that playoff push, and whether or not they're going to do it, who knows?
What are your thoughts on Rick Tocchet? I know it's only been it hasn't even been one full season. What are your thoughts on just how the team has played under him, and just sort of some of the stuff that he has said in press conferences, and his icy relationship with Matvei Michkov? Do you think the Flyers would have having any kind of buyer's remorse when it comes to Tocchet?
I mean, I would say so. I mean, he's similar to who was the coach before? I could picture him, Tortorella. I mean, Tortorella. They're almost two of the same guy. I mean, Tortorella was a guy that was no holds barred when he came into press conferences. I mean, he would let it all out. And, I think towards the tail end there, Tortorella certainly lost that locker room. And, you're maybe seeing it a little bit here with Rick Tocchet here, in the early stages of his coaching career too. I mean, with the Mitchkoff issues and just saying the things that probably shouldn't be said and should be kept closed doors. But I mean, I like his from the standpoint of a coach. I like how he holds his players accountable for what they do on the ice. That aspect of it I love. But some of the things that he's been saying here this year and doing the things completely wrong as a head coach. That aspect of it I don't like.
I don't like. I don't know. Maybe I just don't like some of his answers. And there was a quote where, so the one goal that they scored, it was, I think it was in the Pittsburgh game when they beat the Penguins in the shootout. I think it was either that game or the Toronto game, because he's got Michkov on the same line as Denver Barkey, another young player that they think has a
Very
lot of
high on.
promise.
Yeah.
And Michkov made a great feed to Barkey, who was going to the net for the goal. And they asked him about that play, and he really, to me, he praised Barkey, which he should, but to me, he really almost seemed like went out of his way to sidestep paying Michkov a compliment. That's just kind of the way I read it. And I guess Michkov, now that they got rid of Bobby Brink, Michkov is playing on the right side at the right wing, which is more of his natural position. And he's like, well, he gets a chance now. This is where he wants to play. And but I have my own thoughts on that. We'll see where it happens. It's like, it just, every time he says something, they ask him about Michkov, or he has to get, I feel like he's got to get like a little bit of a dig in there with him.
Right.
And maybe there's stuff that has gone on with Michkov that we don't know about that has really rubbed Tocchet the wrong way. And I guess it all started with him showing up to camp out of shape. But to me, I mean, we're in March now. Like if that's still the issue, like that's got to be squashed.
Yeah.
And, we talked about this on an earlier pod. I mean, the fact that, Danny Briere had to come out and basically meet with the media to calm everyone's fears about whether or not they were going to be getting rid of Matvei Michkov based on some of the stuff that Rick Tocchet was saying at the Flyers Charities Carnival, to some of the media, because he was, pretty outspoken about his feelings about how Michkov has or hasn't played this year. So I don't know.
I mean, well, what are your thoughts though? I mean, do you think there's really a big difference between him and Tortorella at all?
I think he is a little more approachable than Tortorella was. As far as like, if something's going wrong and you feel like you're not, you have questions about something that the coach is or isn't doing, I think you can go to Tocchet more than you could Tortorella.
Sure.
Tortorella was probably more blunt than Tocchet was. But I think there's I think Tortorella made some judgments on some players that, if you look at how those certain players are playing now, that maybe his assessment wasn't that far off. It's just maybe he went about it the wrong way. I don't think Tortorella was a big fan of Sean Couturier and obviously not Cam York.
Right.
That's what led to him getting fired was an alleged locker room incident with Cam York. But 1 year later, under a different head coach, both of those guys are struggling pretty much.
What do you think they do at the end of the season if they don't make the playoffs?
If they don't make the playoffs, though, I don't think, even though I think they might be having buyer's remorse, I don't think that, unless it gets really, really bad here the rest of this season, I think Tocchet would get at least another year, because this was the first coach that Danny Briere, it was his decision that he got to hire. John Tortorella was already the head coach by the time Danny Briere was promoted to general manager after they got rid of Chuck Fletcher. This was the first chance as the sole GM that Danny Briere got to hire a head coach that he wanted. And I don't think he wants to admit after one season that it was a big mistake.
Yeah, that he was wrong. Yeah.
That he
Yeah,
was
we'll see.
wrong. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. Touching on the Penguins, they're coming off. They had a big game the other night against the Hurricanes. Lost in a shootout. They're holding their own. They're treading
Yeah.
water here without Crosby. Even though they did lose that shootout game to the Flyers over the weekend, that Malkin didn't play in that game as well. He was serving a 2-game suspension. Um, they're they're not going to catch Carolina for first place, but they are in a dogfight here with the Islanders for second place and trying to hold off the resurgent Columbus Blue Jackets, who are now just 3 points behind the Islanders and the Penguins for second and third place in the division. So, yeah, your thoughts on what you've seen out of the Penguins, and will they be able to kind of hold the fort down, do you think, as they come down the stretch until Crosby gets back?
I think so. I mean, you saw it last night. 2 top teams in that Metro division last night fighting back and forth, and it was a real good game. I mean, Carolina obviously took that lead 4-2. Then Pittsburgh came back, showed some resilience in that game. They're getting some big efforts. I mean, from other guys that obviously need to step up with Sidney Crosby not being in that lineup. Mantha, Chinnikov, Carlson, Rust, Raquel as well. They're starting to play pretty decent here since Crosby has been out. But a real good game. I mean, you saw 2 of the top teams last night battling it out. And, I think it was a pretty decent game overall for Pittsburgh going up against, the top powerhouse in the Metro division of Carolina. Like you said, I don't think they're going to catch them by any stretch of the imagination. But as long as Pittsburgh can hold their own from here on out until they get Crosby back, I think they'll be all right and holding off, in that second position.
So the biggest challenge for them, though, I think, if you look ahead, their schedule is pretty rough now. Like, actually, this started a 5-game road trip that actually I've never seen a road trip like this before. It's a 5-game road trip that begins and ends in Carolina, and in between is a trip out west.
Yeah, to Vegas. They go up to Vegas next.
So they go to Vegas on Thursday night. They're in Utah on Saturday night. Monday night, they're in Colorado, and then they come home, then Wednesday, they're at Carolina.
Wow.
And on their homestand coming up, they've got Carolina and Colorado again. So to me, now they do have a Winnipeg game in there and a game against Ottawa. They also have Dallas coming up, and then a big game at the end of the month with the Islanders. So this stretch from now until the end of March is the critical stretch for the Penguins. Yeah. How long till Crosby comes back? How do they do on this road trip? They were able to get a point against the Hurricanes, wrong Carolina franchise. The Hurricanes on Tuesday night. They got the overtime win against Boston on Sunday. So they've gotten 3 points out of a possible 4. But yeah, this road trip coming up is going to be huge. And then those 2 home games. So that means in the span between March 10th and March 22nd, in the span of 13 days, they'll play Carolina 3 times.
Yeah.
That's weird. That's weird to have 3 games against a team in your own division bunched together like that.
Yeah, tough schedule coming up for Pittsburgh, but like I said, last night was a good test for them last night going against them and starting off this road trip, the weird road trip that, like you just mentioned, I didn't know that's what they were doing, but that's kind of a crazy schedule here upcoming, and maybe that has something to do with the Olympics and throwing that in there. But
I'm sure it does. Yeah,
as long as Pittsburgh can hold their own here, I think they'll be all right. They get a lot of those younger guys, Connor DeWar too, just stepping up, and Raquel and a couple of those other guys that are in there, Chinnikov, all those guys. If those guys can start to step up, I think Pittsburgh can hold their own, don't you?
I think they've got the ingredients on that roster, and I think they've played well all season. I think it's just that the presence of Crosby and Malkin is just sort of the glue that brings it all together. You know what I mean? Like Crosby and Malkin obviously are having great individual seasons, but I think everything just falls into place when the two of them are out there. Both what they contribute offensively, but just from a leadership standpoint, that I think everything just kind of settles into a nice groove for them when the two of them are together. I think their goaltending is held up pretty well.
Yeah.
Outside of Crosby, they're relatively healthy now. Again, it's like their toughest stretch of the season is coming at crunch time of the regular season here in March. And I mean, I think we'll have we won't have a true sense of where they're at, but we'll have a clearer sense of where they're at after this road trip coming up.
It's crazy when we first started here in the NHL season, we didn't even think that Pittsburgh would be even probably in the top
Nope.
5. And look where they're at
No.
now. Now they're at
Yeah,
second
look where they're
place
at.
and holding strong. I mean, it's crazy. It really is.
Actually, when you think about it, where the Caps are now, the Washington Capitals are now, is probably where I thought maybe the Penguins would be this year.
Right. Yeah.
And the Capitals were playing really well for a majority of the season. Well, I mean, they've been up and down, and they just haven't gotten on a major role that they've needed, because even though they've held their own and they've treaded water, other teams have kind of taken off, and they just haven't been able to keep pace. They, for a team that went into the trade deadline, they were only, I think, 4 points or so out of a playoff spot. And then they ended up trading a couple of veterans and deciding that they weren't going to add, that they subtracted a little bit, thinking ahead to the future. They send Nick Dowd to Vegas. They get a couple of draft picks. They get a minor league goaltender in return. The one that I think surprised people a little bit was that they traded John Carlson, who had been with them for, a long time. In the organization, his whole career, was a stalwart for those Calder Cup teams for the Bears, was a stalwart defenseman for the Capitals for many seasons. A key member of that 2018 Stanley Cup, championship team. And yeah, so he's moving on. He's headed to Anaheim.
I think it was a gut punch in that it was the Utah game. Right after that Utah game, they lost that 3-2, and then they played Boston. I think that Boston game was a real gut punch to that whole entire team when they saw that John Carlson got traded. After being there for 17 years and getting rid of Dowd as well, who was a big part of what the Capitals were doing this season. And now they had the big game the other night, scoring 7 goals, 7-3 win there against Calgary. But, is that going to continue throughout the season? They got to find some offense from somewhere. John Carlson was a big part of that, not only with the goals, but also with assists. On some of those goals that they've had all season long. So, I mean, I don't know if that's going to continue for Washington. I think it was a serious gut punch for them to trade away John Carlson. I mean, that was really, really shocking, really surprising of whatever happened with that, and whether or not John Carlson got, to his end. He was going to be a free agent anyway at the end of the season, right? Is what Carlson was going to be.
He was on the last year of his contract.
Yeah, so whether or not he said to Washington, and saw what place they were in and said, hey, look, this is going to be my last run here with Washington. I'd like to, or even my last year of my career. I want to go to somebody that's a contender, that's going to contend for the Stanley Cup this year. And, maybe that's what triggered them to trade him away, or I don't know what it was, but a little bit of a gut punch for Washington and what's taking place there here now towards, after the Winter Olympic break and getting rid of the guys that they did. But maybe they're going to make some more deals here going forward. But they got to find some offense from somebody in that lineup, because Ovechkin hasn't been that productive this season as much as he was last year. In that lineup, Tom Wilson's been pretty steady. He's steady Eddie every single season. Tom Wilson there on that end, but Ethan Frank got a goal, I think the other night too. And a lot of those younger guys, LaPierre, some of those younger guys, especially even on defense, have got to start stepping it up.
Yeah, they really didn't have a whole lot of margin for error. They played pretty decently coming out of the Olympic break. They beat the Flyers, they beat Vegas, but then they lost a couple in a row. That 6-2 game against Montreal, I think, was a tough one to take, a tough one for them to swallow. And then, of course, like you said, the the loss to Boston. They lost that game to Utah. They did get the win over Calgary. Now they've got a game Wednesday night. It's Wednesday night tonight against the Flyers. And then they've got to turn around and play Buffalo, and then they've got Boston coming up this weekend. They're already 7 points behind Boston. I just, technically they're not out of it, but I think at this point it's too little
Signs are
too
leading
late.
there. Yeah, signs are leading
Yeah.
there. Yeah, for sure. I
But
have to agree with you.
so that, obviously we see what Washington did, and then of course, us following the Bears like we do, how would what Washington did at the deadline, how would that affect the Hershey Bears moving forward here for the rest of the regular season? And we found that out with the fact that Washington has called up Ivan Miroshnichenko. I would expect for the foreseeable future. I
Yeah.
would think that they want to get a good look at. I think they definitely have high hopes for him, and I think they want to give him a long look here for the rest of the regular season. Seeing as they're probably not going to make the playoffs, Washington, I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll see. I mean, they've lost 3 straight now, Hershey has, and that last game that they had, there was 3 goals scored in the final 4 minutes of it. Unfortunately, 2 of those goals were scored by the opposite team. But Hershey Bears have been inconsistent all season long, and depending on what happens here from this point forward of what Washington needs, it. I mean, whatever Washington's going to need up there to make a playoff push, depending on what they do here going forward, they're going to maybe call up some of these younger guys at Hershey, and I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be tough to say what's going to happen here the next couple of games here with Hershey. They've been kind of struggling. They've been getting up in games, then they lose that lead. Then they try to come back, and by the time they try to come back, it's just way too late and giving up too much of the offensive zone all season long for the Hershey Bears. They've been turning pucks over all season long, so I don't see that changing going forward. It hasn't yet here in the second half of the season, so hopefully it does, but I don't think that's going to change.
Yeah, I think they're really going to miss. There are a couple of guys that you can
Top
kind of
scorer,
always
yeah.
count on, and Miroshnichenko is one of them. Protas is another one. I got to think that Washington has big plans for him next season. I'm sure. And then they make there was another trade that affected the Bears. Graham Clark gets traded.
Yep. That was
For
another big one.
For Wyatt Bongiovanni. I think I don't know. I guess there was offensively, Graham Clark, I think, was having a good year. Maybe his total game wasn't where they would have liked it. I don't know your thoughts on that. I don't know. Is that a wash, or does that make them better? Does it make them worse? What do you
You haven't
think?
seen it yet. I mean, you haven't seen it yet with them losing Graham Clark. He was a big asset here this year. I mean, he was always there on the score sheet and was playing some really good hockey too there with Hershey. But a lot of those guys have got to start stepping up. I mean, now with Miroshnichenko not there, I am really curious to see how this plays out with Hershey, because he's one of their top scorers, one of the guys they look to. I mean, you still got Protas there, obviously, and you still got Crystal there too, but who have been playing pretty decent all season long. But it's the inconsistencies that the Hershey Bears have had all season long, and now losing Miroshnichenko and not having Graham Clark in that lineup too. I think that's gonna affect Hershey. It really is.
Well, they have that. So they got Wilkes-Barre
Sonny
Scranton
Milano.
on. Yeah,
Sonny Milano.
They got Wilkes-Barre Scranton on Friday. Now, didn't
Yeah.
Milano get hurt in the last game too?
I don't know. Did he get hurt?
I thought
Is
I
he out?
thought something happened. I don't know that I thought he got like a little banged up or something
Okay.
in
Did not see
one
that.
of the games over the weekend. I don't know that he's necessarily out. The one guy I was going to ask you about is I know Clay Stevenson got hurt over the weekend, came out after the second period. And
Yeah,
I
and
have
they just
not
got that
seen
guy they got that goalie from Vegas too. But I mean, even what they got there, I mean, he has the guy they acquired from Henderson hasn't been playing that well here in the AHL. So they sent him to Hershey, and I don't know if he's going to really make an impact. Bjorklund's been the guy for Hershey here of late, and maybe he's going to be the guy here from this point on.
I have not seen. I'm looking to see if there's any sort of update um on Clay Stevenson, to see if to see if he is
Right.
if that was a serious injury or not. But they've got a big 3-3 weekend coming up. They got Wilkes-Barre Scranton on Friday, and then the guy that they just traded, uh, Graham Clark, they're going to see him this weekend because they've got back-to-back home games at Giants Center against the Belleville Senators. By the way, Belleville also has, remember Garrett Pilon just from a couple
Oh
years
yeah,
ago?
he was a big
He
fan
was one.
favorite. Yep.
Yeah. He was on the Calder Cup team from 2023. He plays for Belleville. So yeah, I think now they do have that really, really big road trip coming up here in, like, when is that? Is that March into April,
I
or is it
believe
all
so.
of April? I think it
Could be
starts at the
almost
end of
all of
March.
April. Yeah.
Yeah. It actually is. It starts on the 27th and 28th in Syracuse and Lehigh Valley and extends all the way up through April the 15th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straight on the road for the Bears beginning on March 27th. And that includes teams that are chasing them for a Calder Cup playoff spot. It also includes back-to-back games in Charlotte and a game on the 15th in Wilkes-Barre Scranton before they close out the regular season on the 18th and 19th at home against Bridgeport and Rochester. Um, I tend to think I'm still going to be optimistic and say that the Bears will have enough to hold off some of those teams down the stretch to get a playoff spot, but I think they've lost all chances of catching Charlotte for third place.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, indeed. I mean, they got a big road trip. Like I said, it's got, once they get to that road trip, what'd you say, 8 games that they're on the road for?
Yeah, it's an 8-game.
Yeah, that's gonna be crucial in the season. It really is, to see how they gel on the road and the teams that they are facing on the road when it comes up. But I think Hershey will make the playoffs, but I don't. We're not going to be going for a Calder Cup run this year. Not going to happen.
Are you a big fan? And we'll close it out here and ask you this question: are you a big fan of the NBA play-in tournament?
No.
Okay, because it looks like that's where the Sixers are headed based on the way they're playing.
I'm not a fan of the NCAA when they do the play-in games.
The first four
in the tournament. I think it's dumb. You know what I mean? The tournament is the tournament. If you're gonna have a tournament, just put them all in there and have them mix it up. None of this play-in stuff of teams that aren't sometimes going to even matter when it gets time to it, down to the nitty-gritty of that tournament. I mean, but just put them in.
Why not have a tournament to determine who's going to be in the tournament?
Yeah,
like a whole.
I agree.
What do you think?
Yeah, I like it.
A pre-tournament to decide who are the 64 teams to be in the tournament.
I like it.
So basically it'll be 128 teams make it into the NCAA.
Mix it up. Mix it up. You don't know what's going to happen once those folks get into it. I mean, it's playoff basketball, but the same story there. I mean, you could have some teams that don't think they could go up against the big boys, and guess what? They could take on those big boys and take those big boys down like they do in March Madness when it comes around. But I'm not a big fan of play-in games and play-in tournaments, and even in baseball to a certain extent when they have the wild card games. Like, I get it, but not a fan.
Yeah, I hear you. No, I get you. I'm not. But it looks like, I mean, the Sixers look like now with Maxey hurt, who knows how long, and Embiid's out. Paul George is still suspended. It's like, I don't know what, if they're headed for the play-in tournament.
Well, Maxey's going to be out, I guess, 3 weeks. They said that, I guess today, 3 more weeks for Maxey. And they got Charlie Payne. They got the veteran with the 32 points last night.
Are they, are
they
trying to do are the Sixers trying to do a late season tank, you think? Maybe try to sneak their way out of the playoffs and maybe get lucky and have what happened to Dallas last year and get that miracle #1 pick.
Could be
their pick back.
Could be, man. But if Charlie Payne keeps playing the way he's played last night with the 32 points, and somebody's got to do the scoring. I mean, you're taking Tyrese Maxey out of that lineup. You're taking 30 plus points each night out of there. Edgecombe has not been that consistent of late he has been with his 20-plus points. He had it again the other night, last night, and Oubre had a really good game, but you're not getting those consistent numbers from those guys here throughout the season. You're not going to get that consistently. I mean, even with Embiid out now, and when's Embiid even going to come back? And is he going to come back at full strength, or is he going to be watching his minutes again? They're going to toss him in for 6 minutes at a shot, take him out for another 20. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with that? But they've been inconsistent with their scoring, and with Maxey out, man, that's not helping anything right now.
Yeah, I guess getting 32 from Cam Payne was a pleasant
Miracle.
surprise, but
Miracle.
he's not that kind of guy. But speaking of NBA, did you see that Bam Adebayo had 83 points last night for the Miami Heat against the Wizards?
83 points?
83 points.
I did not see
he
that.
moved
Wow.
at second all-time now. Remember, Kobe Bryant had that 81-point game, which was the second highest ever. So Bam Adebayo had 83 last night for the Heat. So he's now second on the list for highest scoring game in NBA history. Second, of course, to Wilt Chamberlain's 100 points, which happened up at Hershey Park Arena. Yeah,
how many total points did they have, Miami Heat?
They had like 150, I think it was.
Whew.
I think it was 150 to 126. They beat Washington last night.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't see that. If it's not the Sixers, I don't follow. I don't
That's
follow
it.
the NBA.
You want to hear about it.
NBA.
I got you. But it was significant. I thought
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That is pretty awesome, though. Yeah.
Hey, who knows? You never know. That tells you when you go to an NBA game, you never know what's going to happen. Maybe Cameron Payne will have 84 points in the next game for the Sixers. What do you think?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that might have been his career high last night. I'm not 100% sure on that, but
I wonder if that is. I have to look that up.
That might have been his career high.
Yeah, I don't feel like doing it now. Or maybe I won't feel like doing it ever. But
anyway. No. I think that was his career high.
My friend, we have come to an end.
Been fun, brother. Been fun.
To another edition of Broad Street and Beyond. We want to thank Fairview Golf Course for sponsoring our studio. Great golf in Central PA for over 60 years.
Right down there at the bottom.
And head to fairview.distinctgolf.com. See what happens when I slow down and actually enunciate my words.
You'll make a radio DJ out of you yet.
Yeah, you'll make me a serviceable guy out of me yet. Like, share, and subscribe. We want to continue to grow this podcast because Chase and I have a blast doing it every week and talking sports with all of you, whether you're listening, watching. Spread it by word of mouth, spread it by social media. Like, share, and subscribe. Chase, I guess we'll do it again next week.
Enjoy the sports, buddy.
All right. I wanted to mention before we get going, I actually talked to a good friend of mine, Mike Gross, who a longtime sports writer here locally for LMP, covers Penn State football, actually still does. He has his own Substack. I talked to him recently, and he is more than happy to come on to the podcast to talk some Penn State football. I figure maybe like around heading into the blue-white game would be a good time. Yeah. Good time to get him on. So we'll have Mike on to chat coming up, and I believe coming up in early April we're gonna have be chatting some Reading Fighting Phils as well as they head into their season opener.
Jake Starr, their play-by-play guy. They start on the 7th. We're gonna have him that week, so it should be pretty exciting. Yeah, so we'll see.
And then don't forget, I'm still working on the cast of Stranger Things. That's going to be on a future episode as well. So be on the lookout for that.
I just won't be on that episode.
So you're going to be absent. Oh, well, I guess I got to hold it down myself. All right. We'll get into all that stuff, the secret 9th episode, all of that good stuff.
Indeed.
Chase, my friend, it's been a pleasure. We'll do it again next week.
Sounds good, man. Thank you, brother.